When it rains, it pours, y'all. The information is now dropping regarding Breaker Scorpion and that Dread team. So we know we heard a lot about things that are going on, a lot of data mines out there, good stuff. So much information coming to Marvel Strike Force now. But we just want to preface before we get into this. Obviously, it's a long video. It's a long video. It's like 50 slides here, okay? If you don't take anything else away from this, what I want you to know is this. You have this guy right here, Breaker Scorpion, okay? The team is a Cosmic Crucible offense team. And like any team, when it comes out with the Breakers, the Breaker is the main character. The additional characters are going to be extra. If you are a free-to-play player, we're free-to-play around here. The extra characters that are mentioned that go on this team are extra. We cannot build them free-to-play, okay? We cannot build them free-to-play. So out of those characters, you have Mr. Negative, Electro, Bullseye, and the Rhino. What we're going to notice, this is actually an amazing time in Marvel Strike Force. These reworks are nuts. One of the things we want to notice is that in this case, Electro is a bio character. So again, do not put our resources on this as free to play, because you need your resources to be on the Symbiote 6, which is bio. You need your resources on the Amazing Avengers. You got to have that to get the Scorpion. You got to have that to get the Scorpion. So let's not build these other characters over here, because it's going to cost us on the free-to-play side until we know we have that locked in. Once we got our stuff locked in, maybe look at your resources, do what you want. But this is a bio character. You need bio for the other stronger, more important characters that are still coming down the pipe free-to-play. Mr. Negative is a mystic character. We know that we got Eternals coming. Eternals are mystic characters, right? So if we spend our resources on these extra individuals on the free-to-play side, people that are spending money, they're going to be able to do some extra. People that are spending money are going to be able to do some extra. But if we're on the free-to-play side, if we're building these extra characters, we're going to run out of the resources on the characters that we need. Okay, the teams that are surrounding the Breakers are luxury teams and not necessarily meant for us on the free-to-play side. We will, right? They'll get a stat boost either way. We might be able to take advantage of them in other areas just because they're naturally stronger if we've built them in the past, but we shouldn't be spending our resources on them right now. Make sure you take care of the important things first. Build your symbiote team, get your Amazing Avengers built. That's the engine to get the Breaker. That's the engine to get that Gear Tier 21. Unlock Scorpion Breaker. And then we'll take stock and see what we can do after that. Let's dive into the information. The Contagious Breaker. The Serpent's hammers are still falling, and one of them has found a vessel that Spider-Man fans already know all too well, MacGargan, aka the Scorpion. Scorpion Breaker thrashes his way into the Age of Fear as a Crucible offense stalwart and brings a brand new effect that spreads sickness across the battlefield. Here's what you need to know about Scorpion Breaker and his legendary event. Scorpion Breaker is a legendary plug-and-play Crucible offense threat. For not in the theory crafting, Scorpion Breaker leads the Dread team, a dedicated Cosmic Crucible team that can handle most enemy matchups. He features awakened abilities to crank up his power even more. We're going to be unlocking Scorpion Breaker during that Breaker event. It looks good, y'all. It looks really good. Legend of Crucible Offense and Dread Keystone. Drop Scorpion Breaker into your favorite Crucible Offense team and let his kit do the rest. If you'd rather build around him permanently, Scorpion Breaker is part of the Dread team. So alongside Bullseye, Electro, Mr. Negative, and Rhino, Dread is a Crucible Offense squad built to punch through defenses that think they've got the matchup won. And Scorpion Breaker gives that team a much needed dose of sustain to go with the damage. Contagion. Spread the sickness. Scorpion Breaker infects the battlefield with his new signature effect, Contagion. It will reduce the affected enemy's speed and damage, right? They're sick, they're coughing, they're just getting slow. I think this bypasses other things, right? If someone says, well, the speed can't be adjusted here, can't be adjusted there, I think Contagion still does it. Okay, I haven't been able to test it yet, but I think it still does it. Because I think it's simulating that the character is just weaker. He's sick. So no matter what else it's got going on, it just slowly is diminishing certain stats. It increases then the incoming damage to the afflicted enemy. So this looks like it's going to be a really interesting thing. He's a legendary character. These breakers are cool. We want to make sure we go ahead and indeed get a hold of this character. Now, one more thing before we proceed. Those reworks, a lot of those rework characters are war characters. So interestingly enough, it seems like they left a lot of that text in. So in Alliance War, you might not use this whole team. This might not be a whole Alliance War team, but those individuals can be plugged into other teams, maybe some previous teams, revitalize some of them, some theory crafting, right? So like, for example, Rhino and Electro are Sinister Six members. So they still work with the rest of the Sinister Six. Insidious Six members are Sinister Six members. Catch my drift? So some of that stuff is still going to play. And I think that that is amazing. That is some of the coolest stuff in Marvel Strike Force right now. These reworks are effective in multiple ways. And with the adjustments that we have coming to Alliance War, individuals who are involved and invested in that will have more ways and opportunities to build teams. And I think that that is great. That's something that's been needed for a long time. Now, regarding Scorpion Breaker, it says he doesn't waste time getting Contagion onto the battlefield. On Crucible offense with 3 Dread allies, Scorpion Breaker applies Contagion to the enemy with the highest speed the moment he spawns, if you got that full team. From there, each ability applies Contagion to the primary target. His ultimate goes a step further, applying Contagion to the primary and adjacent target, then spreads whatever negative effects are sitting on that primary target out to all adjacent targets. That's an interesting mechanic. Although Scorpion Breaker's Contagion stings, he excels at patching up wounds for his allies. His passive, Breaker of Nature, heals himself and any ally on their turn, making him a quiet anchor for any squad. So you got passive healing. That's good, right? That's going to make the fight go a little bit longer, lets the team sustain. Legend of Crucible offense and Dread Keystone, we're still talking about that. Put him on Crucible offense with 3 Dread allies, and that anchor becomes a lifeline. The first time he or a non-summon ally drops below 50% health, he's going to clear negative effects. He's going to provide substantial healing. He's going to apply death proof so that ally can survive the follow-up. So the person's already been weakened. Scorpion Breaker is going to try to make sure that person survives so that hopefully he can do something about it. He might not, but he's going to make it hard for you to knock him out. On Crucible offense with 3 Dread allies, Scorpion Breaker and his Dread allies can't be hit with silence or trauma. His enemies can't fill or reduce speed bar for anyone on the field, nor can they gain defense up while he's around. Interesting, right? That's the thing. So he's made for Crucible offense. Not that you can't use him on defense, but for the spender community, what that's going to do is give them another offensive team, meaning they can put another strong team on defense, right? That gives them that extra advantage. Now they have something to deal with you, and you don't necessarily have something to push back. Gives them that advantage. It is what it is. We're on a free-to-play side. This is what's up. Tail Assail sets the tone. Scorpion's special, Tail Assail, clears the field. It strips negative effects from himself and all allies, flips the primary target's taunt into defense down, turns their remaining buffs into debuffs, hits every enemy on the field for heavy damage, and it's an attack that cannot be dodged or blocked. I wonder if that part's in Crucible. We're going to have to see if that part is everywhere. That's going to be effective in Alliance War as well, right? If they can't evade and they can't block, that's going to be pretty good. On Crucible offense, yep, so maybe it is its own thing. On Crucible offense, clears barrier off every enemy and heals his whole team before the hit even lands. Tags a primary target with Contagion if they don't have it already. And with 3 Dread allies alongside him, he locks the primary target down with ability block and trauma. Awakened abilities. So Scorpion Breaker, he has awakened abilities, so you know how this goes. It's going to be for sale. We're going to have to compete for them. And again, on the free-to-play side, it's going to take us a lot longer to get this. So some of this maybe we don't consider. We'll just consider his basic kit, but we want you to know that this is out there. Gets offense up for 2 turns, regeneration for 2 turns to Dread allies on the basic. On the Awakened Ultimate, it strips the limit off of how many effects he can copy, right? So he'll copy, let's say 3. With the Awaken, he copies everything. He'll be flipping those and spreading those in one attack. Awaken passive boosts his reactive healing. So let's say his healing is 10%. With the Awaken, I think it's 20. We'll have to see. Adds a jolt to focus for his on-spawn contagion application. Now, that is good information to know, because that means that it can be resisted. If you have to add focus to it on the on-spawn, that means it can be resisted. And so this will make it less likely for that to happen. Breaker event Scorpion. Well, be on the lookout for Breaker event to unlock and power up Scorpion Breaker. Now, what is he doing? Well, his speed was 129. So that's kind of average, right? A little higher, but kind of average on the speedy side. So again, that 129, that's a good speed. It's putting us in that top quarter as far as characters that we're using pretty regularly. That's not terrible. It's not terrible at all. He is a villain. We need more villain teams. A City is good. We need people there. Mystic, very important, okay? Again, this is why we want to make sure we work on this character first. Do not build the reworks before we get the main character built. He's a Mystic character. We're going to need that Mystic gear. Eternals are coming later. There are also Mystic characters. So let's make sure we work on the main person, especially for free to play. We'll worry about those reworks another time. It's not time to build those reworks. We need that gear for this character. He's a support Spider-Verse, so he can work well in his own lane. Again, unlocking a character. You can use him right away in the Scourge in his own lane to help out there. Dread, legendary character. This is great, right? If you're a newer player, between Surfer Breaker, Scorpion Breaker, and some of the more recent legendary characters, who do we have? We had Omega Red on the Winter Guard, depending on if you're playing there. Jubilee, and we'll have to keep looking, man. That's like 5. We'll have to look and see. We might have 5. I gotta look. That's 4 that I listed off. We might have 5 legendaries, and that will give us a legendary team that we can use in Dark Dimension. So if we're just coming to the game, we now have a group of legendary characters, hopefully, that we can start using in Dark Dimension and start making progress in each of those. I know that's been a bottleneck for myself on the new player side. His basic attack at level 7, so this is not with the Awakened ability, is Contagious Beatdown. He's going to attack the primary target for damage. He's going to get 2 regen for 2 turns, offense up for 1 turn, apply regen to all allies. That's good. That's good. Just some passive healing out there. On Crucible offense, if they don't have Contagion, he's going to give them Contagion for 2 turns to the primary target. Apply defense up for 2 turns to self and all Dread allies. Just for using his basic, triggers a defense up. Okay, when forced to attack a Dread ally, instead, heal that ally for 15% of this character's max health. Now that's crazy, and that's something you're going to see with the rest of these teams. So when you're fighting people that make you fight yourself, Professor X, like mind control type characters or stuff like that, Null, at some point, right, worth the investment, we'll have to see. If you're attacking each other, you're just going to heal and not take the damage. I want to know how that's going to interact with the permanent health, health erasure. But we'll have to see. So this is the Awaken. We're on the free-to-play side, so we're not going to mess with the Awaken. We'll just go with what we normally are going to see. Attack target for damage with piercing, so that's normal. This is the ISO or counterattack assist. You're still going to get that regeneration for 2 turns and offense up, and it will still give you the regeneration for all allies. That's interesting. That's very interesting. So every time this person would counter assist, you're stacking regens on your side of the field. So it starts to, as far as striker and skirmisher and all that, healer, right? It starts to give us some question of how we want to put our ISO on our character, okay? It just kind of depends on the flow that we're feeling. If the target doesn't have contagion, he's still going to give him the contagion for 2 turns, and he's still going to do that healing. So this is all under the assist. That's pretty interesting. That's something really to consider for how we're going to want to play the game. Tail of Sail is a special ability. It's coming out of the gate 4/4. So it's ready. First move you can do. You will clear all negative effects on all allies. So if you were already taking some hits, you're going to clear all that. Flip Taunt to defense down on the primary target and flip the remaining positive effects to negative. So we know there's some great teams out there with some pre-taunting tanks, or sometimes people put a pre-taunt on there just to stop you from attacking. So with this character, his first move, he's going to get rid of that taunt, put defense down on that guy. So he's going to make sure that dude takes the hit. He's going to take a hit, and it attacks everyone. So it's not just limited to the tank, attacks all enemies for damage, clears 3 random positive effects, defense up for your team, or for the Dread team if you got that, or at least for Surfer or Scorpion Breaker. I gotta change what I'm saying. Can't just say Surfer. So for Scorpion Breaker, defense up for him and all the Dread team. This attack cannot be dodged or blocked. On Crucible offense, before the attack happens, he's gonna clear barrier on all enemies, heal. So if you've already been hit, heal self and all allies for 20% of this character's max health. That does not say Dread. He just has to be on Crucible offense. If the primary target does not have contagion, apply contagion for 2 turns to that primary target. And if you got 3 Dread allies, then you're going to apply ability block and trauma to the primary target. So that pre-taunting tank, you're going to lock him down. He's not going to be able to re-taunt. You're healing your team. You're putting your team in good shape. Defense up. All you guys you should be ready to go after that. So his ultimate ability, Dreadful Wrath, it's coming in at 4 out of 6 energy. We're going to need a couple of turns to use it, or we're going to need some type of energy battery to get us up to speed. It's probably best to use after we use that special. That special looks like it's important. So when we get to the ultimate, what we're going to do is copy and clear 3 negative effects from each ally to self. We won't be using trauma, won't be using stun. All right. So he's going to take 3 negative effects from everybody on the team except trauma and stun. Clear them from those individuals. Now he has them. What are we going to do with all those negative effects? We're going to flip all those negative effects that we have, making ourselves a bunch of positive effects now. Copy the opposite. There's a lot here of 3 random positive effects. So 3 of the positive effects that we have, we're just going to give the opposite. So we're giving negative effects to our target. We're keeping ours, but we're going to give them 3 random negative ones based on what we have. Attack that primary and adjacent targets. We're going to attack the primary and adjacent targets for 500% damage. Crucible offense. If they don't have contagion, they're going to give it for 2 turns. Spread 3 negative effects from that primary target to each adjacent target. So we just gave them some more negatives. We're spreading that around. It's unavoidable, cannot be blocked. You cannot dodge it. You can't block it, so you can't stop the negative effects from landing. And I guess a small point, the awakened ability is going to be for the paid side. It's going to be a while before we get that, but it will be all positive effects and not just 3. His passive, Breaker of Nature. There's energy cost there. There's not usually energy costs associated. I think that's just a typo. No energy costs associated with passive abilities. They're just always on. So what's it going to do? Well, every time it's Scorpion Breaker's turn, you're going to heal. No, excuse me. Don't matter whose turn it is. It just say on turn in any ally's turn, any ally, so not even a Dread, heal that character for 10% of this character's max health. If you're on Crucible offense and you got 3 Dread allies, you're going to apply contagion to the enemy with the highest speed. You got a big giant focus increase, 1,500% focus for that to happen. This is on spawn. So you need that focus increase to make sure that it lands. So it means it can be resisted. The first time this character or any non-summoned ally drops below 50% health, clear 2 negative effects on that character and heal them for 30% of this character's max health and apply 2 death proof. I think the Awakened gives you 50% healing. Yep, it is 50% healing. And you get a boost to that focus, 3,000% focus with the Awakened. That's to go against. There's a few characters that have ridiculous boosts to their resistance. So that's designed to overcome that. On turn, in any Dread ally's turn, you're going to clear 4 negative effects from that character and heal self and all Dread allies for an additional 15% of this character's max health. Wow. Okay. So it's going to be hard to control that Dread team. And they get healed on turn in any Dread ally's turn. Wow. The healing goes up. The healing doesn't go up with the Awakened. Man, okay. So there's multiple things happening here that automatically heal, right? We have a on turn, heal the character for 10%. On turn in any dread turn, clear, right? Anybody that belongs to dread, clear negative effects and heal more. This character and all dread allies cannot gain silence or trauma. Woo! Enemies cannot fill or reduce speed bar for themselves, allies, or enemies, and cannot gain defense up. So we have some more speed control here. That's tough, man. That's tough in Crucible. It's good to just have this guy, so you can add this to a team, or you can add this to a team that doesn't have it. So if you're on a free-to-play side, you can just add this to a team that doesn't have it, and you can not mess with the speed bar shenanigans. That's really good. That's kind of like the same thing. It is the same thing that Sentry has, so that allows us to kind of spread that around. That's pretty good. This is the Awakened version. Now we got Bullseye. Look at those stat boosts, baby. 700% health. 700. He hasn't been touched in a long time. His stats are going to go way, way, way up. So if we look at our Bullseye, it's been a minute, buddy. Gear tier 11, purple gear. It's been a while. It's been a while. He's going to need that boost. Now, it said his speed will go up 107. His speed is 110, so I think it's going up to 117, 118, depending on how the math is getting done. So he'll go a little bit faster, but he's still relatively slow. He is really a fan favorite character still, especially with regard to the Daredevil movies. Brought back into the limelight. Now, what's he going to do? Throwing knife, right? We're just going to look at his new stats. No new abilities. Throwing knife, that's his basic ability. Attack primary target for damage. The attack gains 20% crit chance and cannot miss. So if he's blind, he will still hit you. Okay? The effect, it can be dodged. It can be dodged. That's something to keep in mind. On Crucible offense, if Scorpion Breaker is an ally, if you're going to attack a Dread ally, right? So if he has to attack somebody, this is happening throughout. He's going to heal that person instead of do damage. The ISO attack, same deal. We have 225% damage instead of that 300. So it's still almost the same amount, right? As the counter, as a basic, counter attack, it's still the same amount almost as a regular attack. He gets the crit chance to go along with that. So if you can see here, his crit chance, once again, at 25%. There are only 3 characters that have that. And we're just bringing that out because it's significant. It means he's going to crit a lot. So it's in the top 16 as far as people that have a 25% crit chance or higher. With the boost on there, that effectively brings it up to 45% chance in this case, which is top 4, right? He's in between Dokken and Spider-Punk. So that's a lot, man. That's a lot of opportunity to do more critical damage. And again, if he's just doing that on the counter or the ISO attack, that could be good. That can be a lot of damage. We'll have to see where his stats actually end up on here. His special is Card Trick, attack primary target for damage, offense down for 2 turns, bonus attack for another 230% damage. And that gains a 25% crit chance on each attack. So if he's not a raider already, we might want to make him a raider, or again, that striker skirmisher combo might be what we want more. If he can keep attacking every time he hits, he's going to be doing these critical hits. It might add up. We'll have to see what his overall stats look like. It might add up. On Crucible offense, it cannot be dodged or blocked. Ultimate kill shot. Attack target for 550% damage, 100% crit chance, an additional 20% crit damage. And Bullseye is one of those characters that has a lot of extra crit damage, right? His extra crit damage here is 140%. So he's going to be doing some good damage. So he's top 12, right? He's tied for top 12 for overall crit damage. So depending on, again, his stats when we see him overall, he has a potential to do some insane damage in this game. On Crucible offense, you apply stun for 2 turns to the primary target. The attack cannot be dodged or blocked. Passive, never miss. This character cannot gain blind. Wow, cannot gain blind. And the accuracy of this character can only be reduced by negative effects. So Bullseye, I mean, he's a really interesting build for a character. So his accuracy is 140%. Most characters don't have that. Accuracy, so 100% accuracy means your chance to hit. and then it's reduced in some way by other factors. So even if you took away 100% of his accuracy, that's what blind does, but he can't be blinded. But even if you did blind him, he still has a 40% chance to hit. So again, just to kind of illustrate what we're talking about, if we got Daredevil here, his accuracy is 200%. So even if you blind him, he still can hit you. He still can hit you because his accuracy is 200%. Bullseye's coming in at 140. So that's still top 16. There's only, in reality though, Hand Archer, so minion. So there's only 20 characters that have additional accuracy. Bullseye is one of them. So what's that going to do for us? He gets 10% crit damage for each other Dread or mercenary allies. This is what we mean. You could add him to another team. In this particular case, he's going to get an opportunity to do some more damage. If you add him with somebody else or with the Dread, again, that crit damage is going up. So I want to know what this dude's damage stat is going to be on war defense, right? They didn't change this. Gain 100% chance to assist mercenary allies on non-attack abilities. So we might can flex him into a different team in Alliance War. That's why I think this rework is so amazing. On Crucible offense with 3 Dread allies, your Dread allies are going to get more crit chance and crit damage. Dread allies cannot be blinded. Woohoo! Before Bullseye goes, the crit chance and crit damage of the enemies can only be increased by positive effects, and enemies cannot gain safeguard. So he's kind of slow, but he's stopping some things from happening before he takes a turn. Not being able to get safeguard, huge. Crit damage, crit chance, we don't think about it, but sometimes you're able to stack some of that up with some damage. In one shot somebody, he's saying you're not going to be able to do that. Very interesting. Let's go ahead and get into Electro's kit. Basic Electroshock. Attack primary target for 250% piercing damage. The whole thing's piercing. Gain speed up for 2 turns. And in war with 2 superior 6, Crucible with 3 Dread, reduce speed bar of primary target by 20%. And that is also in the ISO counter attack and assist section. That's nuts. That's what I'm saying, man. These reworks are amazing. You can slot them in. Again, you wouldn't probably put her on the Dread team in war, but you could put her with superior 6 if we would like, bringing some new life into that team with a character that has new stats, depending on what we see those stats when they go live. On Crucible offense, if you got Scorpion Breaker, again, you're going to heal instead of harm if you're mind controlled to do that. So again, on the counterattack basics or counterattack and assist, 188% piercing, which ain't bad, right? You're still going to get that speed up. You're still going to reduce the damage, and you're still going to do the healing. Not bad. Special, live wire. Attack primary target for damage. Bonus attack for more damage per positive effect on the target. So that's something that she was known for early in war. You're going to clear a charge from the primary target per positive effect. So people that have stuff stacked, you're going to be able to burn right through those charges. She will gain a charge, and with 2 superior 6 allies, gain an additional 2 charge. So charging up really fast. On Crucible offense with the Dread, 3 Dreads, you get 2 charges. And again, if we remember, she'll be able to do out of turn damage by stacking up a certain amount of charges. Ultimate is Chain Lightning. Attack primary target for damage. Clear all positive effects. Attack everybody else and clear 2 positive effects. Apply offense down for 2 turns. Defense down for 2 turns to all enemies. That ain't bad. And an extra 100,000% focus to make sure that this will happen. The attack cannot be countered. So right when you hit an area effect, that's one of the fears that you're going to get counterattacked. It's not going to happen here. On Crucible offense, it cannot be blocked. So you will be taking this damage and you will be getting those effects. Passive, unlimited power. On turn, she's going to get a charge up to a maximum of 5. On any turn end, if she has 5, she's going to attack the most injured enemy for damage, then lose all 5. Gain 5% piercing per charged. In war, on Sinister 6 allies' turn, she's going to get a charge. If that ally is also a superior 6, also I mean you can bend her in to one of these groups, gain +2 charges instead. On Crucible offense, on Dread allies' turn, 2 charges. If Scorpion Breaker is an ally, enemies cannot gain assists now. Wow, that's going to hurt. So here's Rhino. He's going to get some stat increases. So here's my Rhino. Again, he hasn't been built up at all for some time. Gear tier 16. We did bring him up back in the day because we needed him to help counter the Gamma team because he gets rid of charges. We'll get right back into the kit so we can see. So his basic attack is pummel. Attack primary target for damage and apply defense down for 2 turns. Looks like that same thing still happens with the ISO attack. And again, if he's forced to attack a teammate, he's going to heal him instead of hurt him. Furious Charge is his special ability. Gain taunt, defense up for 2 turns and 2 counters. So you have a taunter on that team. Good. Apply defense up for 2 turns and deflect to self and adjacent allies. So where we put him, right? Where we put him might matter. Usually we want to put him on the end, but who do we put next to him? Clear 1 negative effect from self and each adjacent ally. Just for doing the move, just for taunting. Attack primary and adjacent targets for damage. This attack cannot be blocked. Ultimate is Stampede. You're going to attack the primary and adjacent targets for damage. Apply stun to the primary target. If you got 2 superior 6, so once again, there's that call out, right? This can be interesting, man. Dropping these 2 dudes with some of the Insidious 6 Superior Spider-Man. Superior Spider-Man is a Superior 6 member. So we would need one other Superior 6 to make some of that stuff happen. Fill speed bar for self by 75% when he does his ultimate. On Crucible offense, that's going to give him stun people for 2 turns to the primary target. Offense down for 2 turns, and it's unavoidable. Cannot be blocked, so these things will indeed land. His passive ability, Rhino Hide. So on spawn, apply 2 counters and defense up for 2 turns to self and all Dread and Sinister 6 allies. Sinister 6 is different than Superior 6. All of those guys, right? That's the big overarching thing. Sinister 6. So just for showing up, 2 counters, defense up for 2 turns to all Dread and Sinister 6 allies. On blind, clear blind, and 1 random negative effect from self and each ally. Then fill speed bar for self by 100%. So I think this is something that Mobile Gamer had alluded to. Eclipse, part of her passive is she just starts automatically dropping blind. So every time that would happen, Rhino looks like he would take a turn. I'm interested to see that interaction. And there's other characters, right? There's other characters in Crucible that we've been throwing blinds out or flipping things to blind. So every time that happens, that's going to be interesting. Rhino should get 100% speed bar and take a turn. So we're talking about out of turn damage. Depending on how his stats look, that could be devastating. Gain 5% damage per hero enemy. Gain 25% max health per Sinister 6 enemy. In war, if he's got 2 or more Superior 6 allies, if they have slow, they can't be charged. So that's what was our old school counter for Red Hulk. Maybe we can find some more ways to use it in the modern day. In Crucible offense, if you got 3 Dread on spawn, offense up for 2 turns. Okay. If this character completes a turn, this character and all Dread allies cannot, until this character completes a turn, this character and all Dread allies cannot gain stun. So by bringing up these other dudes, you're stopping the Dread team's ability to be controlled. That's pretty crazy, right? Each of them stopped something from happening to the team. Enemy resistance can only be increased by positive effects. 25% health for each Dread ally. I'm curious to see what those stats are normally. And now we got Mr. Negative. Big stat bumps to him. Again, our Mr. Negative hasn't been touched in some time. He was good, man. He was on an Underworld team. He was good. He is a Spider-Verse character. So, and he's given away, right? This is one of those characters that the game just gives you when you're new by collecting the web milestones. So it's not too difficult to max this character out. I wouldn't really build him if you were newer. I would build him maybe a little bit just to help you get through. There's enough villains and stuff. But if you need help in like some of the Spider-Verse or the hero or the villain, not the hero, in the city section of things, maybe this is a guy, since they're going to give you a bunch of stuff, you could build him a little bit to help you get through some of that earlier content. But he's not a character that I would continue to invest in. His basic attack is a negative strike. On Crucible offense, clear barrier on the primary target. Flip 2 positive effects to negative on that primary target. You're going to do some damage, gain 20% damage per summoned ally. So that's just something to think about. He has his own summons, but if you want to put him on a different team, right? The Underworld team, you had a lot of people that gave summons. So this damage could get pretty crazy, right? On Crucible offensive, Scorpion Breaker's an ally, and you attack a Dread, you're going to heal him instead. So the counterattack, you're still going to clear the barrier, you're still going to do the flip, you're still going to do some damage, and you're still going to gain extra damage from having summons. Now, his special is Demonic Assistance. He summons these allies, the demons, that's a gang. Attack primary target for damage, apply defense down for 2 turns, ability block for 2 turns. This special ability right here causes a lot of problems, a lot. So you got an ability block. On War offense, or now on Crucible offense, you're going to apply trauma for 2 turns to the primary target. Mind control the primary target to attack the lowest speed non-summoned enemy 2 times. That controlled character gains 20% damage, 25% damage for those attacks. Spread all negative effects from the primary target to that lowest speed non-summoned enemy. Won't do stun. On Crucible offense, if Breaker, Scorpion is an ally, you're going to get an extra 2,000% focus. So this is going to happen. Wow. He was good back in the day in Alliance War. This move right here changed the game. Ultimate Wave of Negativity. On War offense or Crucible offense, clear revive once and all charged from the primary target. Attack all enemies for damage. Flip all positives to negatives. This can't be blocked or dodged. 1,000% extra focus if Scorpion Breaker is on that team. Passive is the Inner Demons. So on spawn, these are his different minions. Summon an Inner Demon Cyclops, gain defense up for 5 turns. So I think that's the one that automatically falls. On turn, summon another Inner Demon in the following order. There's the Dragon, the Demon, and the Cyclops. Excuse me. On War offense, on death of a summoned ally, clear 3 random negative effects from all non-summoned Underworld allies. So that stayed for Alliance War, and it's still in effect. On War offense, Underworld minions gain extra max health and focus. So he is an Underworld character. So again, going maybe the Underworld team, like the Underworld team itself isn't really viable. Taskmaster, we still got him from the Thunderbolts. So I don't know if you're going to revive the team, but just he's still an Underworld member. So just having him and perhaps Taskmaster, maybe you can work something out and put them on some other team. Curious to see what people come up with. So again, on War offense, those minions, they get more health and focus. Crucible offense with 3 Dread allies. On the death of a summoned ally, clear all negative effects from all non-summoned Dread allies. Wow. So this is the computer that's going to be targeting them because it's on offense. And if they destroy a minion, you cleanse your whole team. That's pretty good. It was hard for you to put stuff on them in the first place. Negative. They get a lot of cleanses on his team, man. You cannot put negative effects on his team. When this character or any Dread ally gains slow, flip the slow to speed up. If Scorpion Breaker is an ally, enemy speed can only be increased by positive effects. Wow. They are making it tough. This is going to be a tough team. So the minions, we'll just go through some of the basics for them just so you know. So they're getting boosted. The Cyclops. So the Cyclops is going to do damage. He puts out heal block. If the target is Mystic, you reduce that speed bar by 10%. On War offense, he gets extra focus to make sure that happens. And extra focus if there's more Underworld allies. On Crucible offense, lots of extra focus if you're dealing with Scorpion Breaker. And even the minions, bro, even the minions, if they're forced to attack the team, people are going to heal. That's nuts. Very similar on the counterattack and assist. The Cyclops, when the Cyclops drops, offense up for 2 turns. He's going to put regens on Mr. Negative. On death, he reduces the speed bar of all enemies by 10%. Dude. So if you smoke this guy, you get a speed decrease and you cleanse. On Crucible offense with 3 Dread allies, on turn, apply offense down to the enemy with the highest damage. Just because he took his turn. The Demon. Oh, I forgot. It looks like they got a little bit of speed bumps too. Make him go a little bit faster. Attack primary target for piercing damage, all of its piercing damage plus offense down. On war offense, instead, you're going to give them stun instead of the offense down. Extra focus to make sure that happens. If the primary target is Mystic, reduce their speed by 10%. Still get the healing, similar with the counterattack and assist. Passive for the demon. On spawn, gain defense up for 2 turns. On war offense on turn, regen to Mr. Negative. So all of them are given regen. Crucible with 3 dread. Apply heal block. Ooh, to the most injured enemy. Okay. On death, reduce speed bar of all enemies by 10%. Dragon, speed boost. Attack primary target for piercing damage. Bleed for 2 turns. They're Mystic, reduce the speed bar. War offense, it's going to happen, or increase in focus. Scorpion Breaker, increase in focus. The healing still applies. His passive ability, on spawn, speed up for 2 turns. On war offense, regen to Mr. Negative. Crucible offense with the dread. Apply offense down to the enemy with the highest damage. On death, reduce speed bar of all enemies by 10%. That was a lot of information. I want to know your thoughts about the characters. I think just right, Marvel Strike Force is doing the right thing. They are definitely trending in the right direction. So a lot of this is not for us on the free-to-play side. It's not for us on the free-to-play side, so I wouldn't mess with it. Again, maybe I'll come back to something like this later in the year. If for some reason they come out with a dissatisfactory team, maybe I'll come back to this team or the Omen team or something like that. But all these characters still have their war abilities active. You would not use this team, I don't think, in war as a team, but those individual characters can be slotted in and they will work in other plug and play methods in Alliance War. That's amazing, especially with what we got going on with the war updates. I want to get this new Breaker character. Super excited for him. What do you think? Are you the type of player? Are you going to build up some of these other guys? Are you going to use them for something? I want the Breaker. Let's make sure we get him. Use them in this game mode. Don't build these extra characters. You got to build your Symbiote 6 first. You got to build your amazing Avengers. They are needed. Eternals are coming. They will take priority. Those 3 teams should take priority over these reworks if we're free to play players. Curious of what your thoughts are. A couple more days left. Not much. Couple more days left. Put in for the player voice, man. We need good players to weigh in on the issues. Take care of yourself and your family. Peace.